I haven't posted a page for Arendelle After Dark in a while, so why don't I just get to making an episode? I'm thinking peaceful, slice-of-lifey, late nights in winter. Though that might just be because a snowstorm basically buried my whole neighborhood, so who knows? Anyway, let's start off with a fun opening shot of the Arendelle estate. I've been meaning to show it off anyway, especially when the main comic spends so much time inside. Alrighty, finally, after hours of sketching and rendering, I think I got something. Right, well, let's see how it looks fully zoomed out. Right. I don't actually know how to draw French estates. Well, that's okay. I can just search up some references. Surely Pinterest has something good, right? Oh, well, these are great, but it's not exactly the perspective I want. But I'm gonna keep these just in case I need these design ideas, you know? Doesn't hurt. Well, I want this very specific angle with this semi-realistic style too, but I don't know Blender and I can't find a reference for it. Oh, what do I do? Huh? Oh, I think I can work with this. I've always loved The Sims 4, ever since I was like 8 years old watching Vixella's Runaway Teen series. So when this toothy in my Discord server asked me to play The Sims 4, it reawakened an old phase that I haven't been in for months. Now, I can't just play The Sims 4 on stream, because it'll kill my computer. I literally had my fans blowing as loud as a small jet as I tried having the audacity to record a speed build for this video. So here's the only clip I managed to salvage of V flirting with Esme, because of course she is. Their dynamic really does transcend mediums, and it scares me. Anyway, I believe The Sims 4 is a hidden gem not only for exterior and interior design of your OC's homes and settings, but is a way to master the design of your OCs. So I've always had an issue with making layouts for inside spaces. Let's use the current drawings of the inside of the estate as reference. With the shape of the house in mind, this stairwell is physically impossible. Why is it impossible, you ask? Well, let me draw it out for you. Theoretically, if these stairs were here, at the end of the hallway that seemingly curves over itself here, it would be physically impossible for the next shot to be completely blank without any presence of windows or curve. That is something I didn't notice at all when drawing my comic, because I didn't understand the space I was working with up until I started to build this in The Sims. Now, this doesn't mean I'm a bad artist and doesn't really affect the comic in any way, despite like a couple continuity errors, but you know what it does affect? My confidence as the artist. Now, with this 3D model of the Arendelle estate, I can confidently understand how the space that my characters inhabit work. For smaller areas like the garage, for example, this doesn't really matter since we're hardly going to see the exterior or the interior of this besides the next 5 pages. The Arendelle estate, however, is one of, if not the most important area in the entire comic, since we'll be spending so much time inside around here, which is why I went through the back-breaking effort of detailing this as much as I could in The Sims 4, and making sure I got the personalities between all these rooms to a T. Now, what do I mean by personalities? How can a room have a distinct personality? Well, let's give you some examples using these 2 screenshots I took. Here's a build I made for the Arendelle Estate's residential kitchen. Seems pretty clean, almost too clean even, and it matches the building's whole aesthetic. And here's the kitchen that the lab workers use during their lunch breaks. Pretty different, huh? The estate's kitchen looks completely untouched, almost like a movie set, or those display areas inside of furniture stores. Meanwhile, the lab's eating quarters looked lived in. There's fruits and tea along with books and other office material that the workers probably took from downstairs to continue working on during lunch. The aesthetics don't match at all to the rest of the estate either. It's warmer and uses a lot of wood tones compared to the cool blues and like marbles that they always use. This is what I mean by personality. If you're currently designing an interior for your OCs or story, then definitely take into consideration who's this room for, and how their personalities affect the amount of clutter, the tones, and the decoration. In the background of this video, you can actually see how I'm using screenshots from The Sims 4 to draw Esme's office. Am I tracing? Technically I am for this countertop and for these shelves. Very technical objects with specific points of perspective that I am not skilled enough to simply execute. But I soon realized that the clutter I put around the building will make my drawings look cheap and artificial if I trace it. There's always a balance between everything, and no, I don't consider this cheating, especially in comic making where you have to draw multiple panels at one time. Am I going to use a screenshot for every single scene in Arundel? Of course not. Not everything can be solved with a screenshot. Sometimes there are just shots that can't or don't need to be highly detailed. For example, my mini-comic called Jealousy on EAD has a mix of detailed backgrounds, here and here, and simpler ones which can either be flat colors or just a pillow. In my opinion, having a detailed Sims 4 build that you put literal hours into is almost equal to making your own 3D models of rooms and buildings. Keyword, almost. The only two real differences I can think of is skill and control. The Sims 4 is a great tool to graph out layouts, easily build interiors, and get a better understanding of your OC's models. More on that in a second. But it comes with the cost of not being able to have something exact. For example, in this drawing, I could copy the bath, the ottoman in the corner, and the window placement, but I can't spawn in a city that looks exactly like Ville de Pearl out of nowhere. If I made a 3D model out of everything here, then I'm sure I could do some sort of perspective trick and model some small but accurate buildings that resemble Ville de Pearl's architecture. However, I don't have that current skill because I don't know how to use Blender. Anyway, let's get on to my next point of understanding your OC's designs. Something that is very specific to The Sims 4 compared to all The Sims games is their insistence on you creating a character before actually being able to play the game. This caught me off guard and sparked me to go on this journey of finding a handful of CC for my Sims to at least mimic VL and Esme's hairstyle as closely as possible. After that, I came to the realization of, wow, I actually don't know my own OC's designs as I thought I did. I think I have a pretty cartoony art style, so when confronted with The Sims 4's semi-realistic art style, it was a fun challenge to see how these features translate from medium to medium. On top of that, I had to think about their outfits outside of their cartoon logic of wearing the same thing every single day. With the exception of Esme, it's canon that she has a dozen of these blue shirts and like 2 pairs of pants, which is a pair of jeans and these brown bell-bottoms. Despite that, I never really considered what on earth VL would wear if she went to work out, or if she was swimming at the pool, or what Esme would think a formal outfit is. It's her dad's old tux, which is one of the very few sets of different clothes that she has. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about The Sims 4, and you should definitely try it out if you have the chance. Most of what I used is base game and a few packs I collected over the years. I'm pretty sure it's free on Steam, and it's definitely a fun game to play in your spare time, whether it's making characters and casts, or building, or messing around in live mode. If you want to see what happened to the drawings I was doing in this video, then be sure to check out my webcomics Arundel, and specifically Arundel After Dark, where I'll be posting the full comic by Friday before our Saturday stream. Speaking of which, I'm streaming the next part of Arundel tomorrow, where we'll be drawing Victoria, VL, and hopefully someone else depending on how much progress I make. It's been a real blast doing this series, and episode 2 of Arundel is coming out soon. I just need to grab a couple of VAs, but I'll talk about that more in a different upload. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching until the end. If you like art tips, comic making logs, or hybrid gaming and art videos, then be sure to subscribe. So keep making OCs and stay toothy. Bye bye!